This video was originally recorded as a live stream on YouTube on December 23rd, 2025. Unfortunately, I had used some copyrighted material during the live stream which had to be removed from the video. So I've downloaded it and re-edited it without the copyrighted material. I also noticed I'd made some mistakes. So I accidentally said Epstein's mansion in El Brillo Way was in Miami and not Palm Beach. So here's the re-edited video with some corrections. If there's any other mistakes, please let me know in the comments.
Hello there, good evening, and a very Merry Christmas from me, Go Do Your Own Research. We have a special edition tonight for you. I hope you've all done all your preparations and maybe you're wrapping up your presents, or I don't know, doing something. But what I wanted to show you and what I wanted to talk about tonight is this photo. So we're going to be looking deep into the connections with Michael Jackson and Jeffrey Epstein, because I have seen this picture come up in the Epstein Files, and I've seen people be very dismissive about it and be like, oh, what's the big deal? Like, we already saw that picture. And I'm like, well, I never saw that picture. But also, I think people are dismissing it when it is a much more bigger deal than they're making out, to be honest with you, because they're like, oh, well, it's just a picture. What does that prove? I'm going to show you. It shows a lot more than what you would say from that, from just taking it as, oh, it's just a picture. He took pictures with famous people. Yeah, which famous people? These were people in his inner circle, and they all knew each other. So just to show you, the first thing that I looked up was I heard that someone had already posted this picture on this Leaving Neverland Reddit. So I went ahead and looked at that, because I've heard people saying that this picture was taken in his Miami house. Sorry, forgot what it was. Yeah, it was a mansion in El Brillo Way, which is where he first met Virginia Roberts Giuffre. This video that was posted, where is it now? I have so many tabs to share. Like, this is a proper presentation. I guarantee you no one else has made these connections the way that I have. Okay, so it says unpublished photos found by police during the search of Epstein's Paris mansion, Epstein with Michael Jackson. This was 1 year ago. Well, it's news to me, and it's a terrible quality picture, but here it is. So that is it. That is it. And I heard people were saying that it was AI, and I'm like, yeah, I can see why they would say that, because it's very, very grainy. But I noticed that whatever this website is, it's in French. I've looked at what I can of all his apartments, and it's really, there's nowhere that has that exact flooring in any photos that I've seen. Let me go back to the original photo now. There we go. Ooh, I don't want to go that far in. What I want to do is right. So can I do that? This is a new laptop, in case you... So I don't really know what I'm doing. Right. Oh, I can only go down to there. Well, one thing you can see is that plug. And that looks to me like a French socket. And then underneath it is... There we go. Yeah. Now you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So there's this thing here which looks like some kind of speaker. I was thinking a speaker, but then I looked it up because I've been trying to place the year as well, and I'm thinking like this has to be early 2000s. I was thinking, could it be after his trial, which would have been 2005? It's difficult to say. The footwear looks like the kind of thing he would wear as part of his performance outfit, but I don't know if he dressed like that like going around to meet people. Like, he didn't do any shows after 2002, and that was only in New York, so I don't know. But so what I noticed was the parquet flooring, this painting, and over here we have what looks to be like either a planter or it's like some big box with something in it. I don't know. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting that people are already not even bothering to find out the metadata of this picture. Anyway, as far as like him being placed in, that is because a victim testified in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial that she met Michael Jackson. And I was thinking to myself, do I remember Virginia Roberts saying something about it in her book? I literally do not remember. That's another reason why I wanted to reread her book. But even if she did, that would make two sightings of him, because that wasn't her that testified at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. People have said, like, it's just like everything I've heard, I'm just like disagreeing with, because people have said, oh, well, he met loads of famous people in his house. That is in his house. At this point, he would have known full blown this guy is a pedophile, 100%. Did Michael Jackson know about him? I'm sure he would have been advised by this point. Basically, if you don't know, Michael Jackson was on image damage reputation reform since the 90s. His finances were a mess and his career was going down the drain. And he was seriously in the throes of an addiction, which I'm going to say, I was trying to work it out earlier, was probably going on for about 15 years, definitely when this photo was taken. He would have been addicted. So yeah, I've heard people saying, oh, well, he was going to visit him about his finances. Why would you go and visit Jeffrey Epstein about finances when you are someone as rich and powerful as Michael Jackson? Do you know what I mean? What I am thinking is they both would have been comparing notes about image control, about how to portray yourself to the public, and keep the deception going. how you become entwined with politicians to keep yourself protected, aka what's his name, Bill Clinton. But then, as we know, they were both pretty friendly with Donald Trump as well. I mean, Michael Jackson maybe not so much, but he definitely met him, because I've heard his sister LaToya talking about it. Donald Trump was a fan. So what am I saying? I'm saying that I don't believe this was the only time they met, basically. And I would like people to notice those details and let me know when they think and where this photo was taken. But look how deathly white Michael Jackson's complexion is. The other thing I notice is he's wearing this sort of like, what's it called? Like a cross. It's something that you would see. It looks like something you put in your collar to go to, when you go to a wedding anyway. Like, he looks dressed up. He looks like he's dressed up with somewhere to go. As for Epstein, I don't know. He doesn't even dress up when he's meant to be dressed up. But for him, he's got, I don't often see him in jeans. Anyway, what else can I say about this picture? There was a Twitter post that I saw. It's not allowing me to show much of it because I'm not logged into Twitter. Oh, there we go. What does this say? It says the Justice Department released photos from the Epstein Files which show Jeffrey Epstein with Michael Jackson and former President Bill Clinton. So this is the reason why people are dismissing these pictures, because they're saying, well, this is obviously because the Department of Justice is run by a Republican. And honestly, I hate talking about American politics because it's so divisive and disgusting. Both sides are clearly corrupt. I just double-checked before I came on. The head of the Department of Justice in the United States, who has released these files, which is a breach of the act they brought in just to release them, because he hasn't done what he was meant to, which is to give unredacted names, and there's no context. We have thousands of pictures released with no context, but a lot of them show Bill Clinton. And on this particular occasion, the one that I'm showing you right now, this was, I checked the date as well, and that's another thing that's been accurate. This was actually on the day that Bill Clinton put on a show to raise money at the Apollo Theatre, and Diana Ross, her son, who's redacted here, that's her son Evan Ross. He's on the stage. That's how I dated it. Michael Jackson, this outfit he's wearing, he wears this outfit a lot around this time period of 2001 to 2002. But I can show you that, where is it? I think there's a YouTube video I found. Yeah. A Night at the Apollo 2002. This is the night this picture was taken, I believe, because he's wearing the same. He's wearing the same tie.
A particularly good friend of mine. He was part of my first inaugural entertainment ceremony. He has been a tireless humanitarian, and his fame and influence have been used more and more in recent years to help people all around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most remarkable.
You see how he just called him a humanitarian? Like, someone put that buzzword out, because he's called that over and over again. And what I've come to find out is he was actually being sued by a charity who he had never donated money to, that he made a contract with in 1988. And I believe that all through the late 90s and around this time, the early 2000s, he was really, Michael Jackson I'm talking about, was really pushing himself out as a humanitarian, as someone that really cared and helped children, when in fact the opposite is true.
Performers in American history, the king of pop, Mr. Michael Jackson.
What I noticed with so much of the footage I've been looking at with Michael Jackson is the hysteria, the absolute hysteria. But anyway, so that was a fundraiser for the DNC, which is obviously the Democratic Party in America. But anyway, that's not where it ends. That's not where it ends. There was other pictures of Bill Clinton, but I'm not going to show them today. Was there any more of this video I needed to show? I can't remember. To be honest with you as well, like this, oh look, see the shoes? This period of time, his performance on stage is so bad.
She came at me in sections with the eyes of desire. I felt trapped into her web of sleep. A touch, a kiss.
See the shoes?
In humanity. This girl was persuasive. This girl I could not trust. The girl was bad. The girl was dangerous.
Yeah, they don't show it all. Right, we're going to get rid of that. You can see why he had to stop performing, because he had really lost it. Like he was lip syncing. This is can you see that? Yeah, his kids as well, like they're in another version of that picture in that room, because this is how I found out what night that picture was taken. I couldn't find the actual photo, but I spent ages looking for the same outfit that Evan Ross is wearing, the guy that's redacted. And you can see he comes on stage at the end with Michael Jackson, and he has the same shirt on and like a sort of gold bracelet. And in the photo, we see where the kids' faces are shown. I don't think you can really see it. I don't think you can really see it in that one. There's another picture where the kids' faces are shown. You can see his arm has a gold bracelet on. This is how deep I go in my research. That's the picture I'm on about, with the gold bracelet. You can see he's got his arm around the kid. So what I noticed was that Michael Jackson and some of the other people that were pictured in these Epstein file photos, I knew that they knew each other. And that is another thing in that photo I showed that is being overlooked right now. So that's what I'm going to get into. I knew there was a reason I posted that. Yeah. Michael Jackson with actor Chris Tucker, President Bill Clinton, and Paris and Prince, 2002. Now, I think that could have been a different year because Clinton has a different outfit on. So this is what I mean. Like, some of these posts are not accurate. You have to do your own research to go and find out when the date actually was. But the kids look a little bit older there, so maybe that was 2003. I don't know. I don't think Michael Jackson performed in 2003. Okay, so going back to Chris Tucker, yeah, there he is. He's in the Epstein Files. He's there. And this one's so bad. There. Yeah. Those girls all look underage. And this guy is a good friend with Michael Jackson. Really good friend with Michael Jackson. They work together as well. And there's another film director that Chris Tucker is friends with, who's also friends with Michael Jackson, and he very much was part of his inner group that we're going to get onto. But let's stick to Chris Tucker first, because as you can see, the previous photo I showed, I should have said actually, where was it? Where he's in the plane. He's at the private jet. Oh my God. Yeah, so that's obviously at an airport. Again, we have no date, no context, but it looks to me like it's in California, going by the background. It could be maybe where he had his ranch. New Mexico, was it? I don't know, because I've never been there. But just those mountains in the background like that definitely is not in Florida. 100%. And the other place, he said, oh, they went on a special trip to Africa with Bill Clinton. But the point is, I mean, look, I'm not letting Bill Clinton off. He knew these people. Obviously, they were in intimate circumstances together. But I think they all pretty much had an idea of what everyone else was up to. That's just my personal view. But yeah, so I looked up this Lead Air United. I couldn't find anything for it, so it doesn't really mean anything. There is a company called Lead Air, but it's Lead apostrophe Air. And it's based in the Netherlands, I think, or someone European. That's definitely not in Europe. But yeah, this is him and Jelaine obviously embarking or disembarking from a private jet. Anyway, Chris Tucker, he's acting like this ain't got nothing to do with me. He's already put out a video, or someone has, saying, look, Why are you bringing my name into this? I don't know what was going on. I was just on a work trip. I don't believe him. But let me just play this anyway. Oh.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different well, that was a humanitarian trip to Africa.
Yeah.
And I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation. And yeah,
there's that word again, humanitarian.
Who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation trip to Africa.
Yeah.
And I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation. And yeah, I met him, and you don't know people, what they do in their private lives. So yeah.
But tell me this, Chris.
Did you hear someone laughing then?
You was on this private plane, and you could tell that it was a private plane because they called it, was it Lolita Express?
Oh yeah, it was a private plane. Yes. Oh yes.
But wait a minute. You didn't never go to that island, did you?
No. I don't know where that thing is.
Yeah, very funny. Very funny. I just want to get back to it.
Bill Clinton and a lot of different well, that was a humanitarian trip to Africa.
Yeah.
And
a humanitarian trip to Africa. Okay. I would maybe believe you if we didn't have that. That is two separate occasions. So, yeah. That's that one. Then we have Michael Jackson. So Chris Tucker's saying, oh no, I don't know nothing about their private life. I'm on a humanitarian trip. Let's have a look at this. Might turn my camera off. Do you want my camera on or off? What do you think? I haven't got anyone talking to me, so I'm just talking to myself right now. Let's play this. A lot of these videos are actually made by Michael Jackson fans. Like, they think they're doing something good by like, oh, this guy was so loyal to Michael Jackson. Like, he was such a good friend. But what they don't realize is they're actually showing us what was going on in plain sight now that we can look back on it, knowing that both of these people are in the Epstein Files. Okay, spare me. Oh yeah, so this evening sky. Okay, so there's that. And there's that. Okay, so that was the one I was going to say, because I believe that is Brett. That is Chris Tucker right there. I don't know who this guy is or this guy. And this looks like some kind of award or something going on. Anyway.
Like a comet blazing across the evening sky.
Hung out. So this is, again, Chris Tucker giving Michael Jackson an award. 2 awards.
Selling artists of all times. And 3.
And like I said, this is 2002. So just to give you some background, Michael Jackson was being sued. Okay, he's already had his 1993 prosecution trial, or it didn't go to trial, sorry. The allegations in 1993 of child endangerment. Then, like I said, there's a lawsuit going on by a children's foundation charity, which no one knows about this. Well, it was reported. That's how I came across the article. So this is all building away in the background. It was for a lot of money as well. Let me show you. You see that article? It's in Variety. It says December 29th, 1993. It's definitely December 29th, 1993. And it says, the legal troubles of Michael Jackson grew with the filing of a lawsuit by a charitable organization alleging the entertainer, a licensing company, and 3 law firms interfered with an agreement to pay the charity commissions on the sale of Jackson licensed merchandise. Yeah, this is a humanitarian. In the 128-page complaint filed by the Children's Peace Foundation of Beverly Hills, oops. And its executive director, Peter Georgi, the group is seeking $25 million for lost revenues stemming from an October 1988 agreement that promised the charity 5% of gross royalties on a series of deals involving the sale of products such as perfume, chocolate, and cosmetics. The suit alleges Jackson's lawyers, Zifrin, Brittenham, and Branca, that's John Branca, that's his long-standing lawyer, and others, orchestrated similar deals with other companies which were deliberately designed to circumvent the earnings potential of the charity. In other words, they did deals with other companies to make profit so they didn't have to hand over money to the charity, but they said they were doing it for children's charities. A children's charity, I should say. The lawsuit also claims the charity is owed money from the sale of the merchandise. Other firms named as defendants in the suit include licensing firm Entertainment Properties, Inc., and 3 other law firms that represented the companies involved in the contract. So, who knew that was going on in 1993? You know? But I really think that's when it all started for him, where he was like, it's going downhill. We need to start getting out there and doing some damage control. And on top of it, he's got a drug problem going on, really bad, because he's not able to perform anymore. You can see in his performances, he's good, very good at doing the moves, but he's doing the same old moves, and he's really counting on his backup dancers and other people to keep the performance looking good. But yeah, so as it gets to the 2000s, the early 2000s, which is when I think that Epstein picture is from, they're really going into overdrive to try and present him as this humanitarian guy, the guy that sold so many records. You know, he's untouchable. No one could say anything bad about him. Going back to this Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was part of this operation anyway. That's what I'm trying to say.
Come on, let's go. Get in this car for all this trouble you done caused.
So Michael Jackson was in whatever movie that was. I forget the name of it already. But he's probably going to say it again.
Michael Jackson is the biggest selling artist of all times. And Thriller remains the largest selling album all over the world. For his outstanding musical contributions in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, the American Music Awards presents Michael Jackson with this year's Artist of the Century Award. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome a good friend of mine, the King of Pop, Mr. Michael Jackson.
The Artist of the Century Award, a good friend of mine. He's not doing performances at this time. He's literally coming on stage to get awards. Oh, that was Usher. Usher's part of this group. You know what else happened in 2002? They did this like 30-year solo artist, which is incredible, by the way. Like, to have a 30-year career as a solo artist is really like exceptional. And to be honest, even if he wasn't on drugs, like to be able to move and do all those dance moves and sing and everything, it's impossible. But the problem is like, that's what Michael Jackson's legacy is. And when you look back on it now, it's like, they really did a number on us thinking that he was going to be like that forever, because it obviously is. It's not possible physically to keep that kind of energy and regime up. Where was I? I'm not going to play the speech because you can imagine what it says. I love my fans. And like, the thing is, like, I look at Michael Jackson and I'm like, yeah, I loved his music as well, as much as anyone. But when I watch this back now, I'm like, I just can't with this. It was such deception what they were doing. So this is another award the same year.
That's why I'm thrilled to present this award to the King of Pop, Michael Jackson.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored.
And so this one, he's not even come to the actual event. This is a satellite video that they've pre-recorded from Neverland. Chris Tucker's going to make a joke about it in a minute.
I'm very happy. I thank all the people that appreciate my work. I thank the Billboard Awards. I've always admired you. And
oh yeah, this is the Billboard Awards.
The fans around the world, I love you. I couldn't be me without you. Thank God. And Chris Tucker, you're my favorite.
Can I keep the award for a couple of days?
Yeah, we gotta share it. We have to share it.
Well, I'm staying at the Neverland.
Yeah, anywhere you want to stay.
All right, I'm in cabin number 3.
Okay.
Ooh. He said, where am I staying? In Neverland. So awkward. There's something going on behind the scenes. as if I haven't got enough to deal with all these tabs.
Hey, what's up,
Thank
y'all?
you so much.
Thank y'all.
Hey, what's up, y'all? They told me they still had Michael Jackson on the wire. Where Mike at? What's up, Michael?
Hey, how are you?
That's the king right there, bro. How you doing, man? Mike, I just wanted to ask you a question that was on everybody's mind, I'm sure. I know it was on mine. Mike, where Bubbles at, man?
It's so awkward how there's like the elephant in the room, that the question everyone wants to know. This is not the question everyone wants to know.
The monkey doing? Ain't nobody heard from the monkey in a while, Mike. How the monkey doing, man?
He's at Chris Tucker's house.
Chris Tucker got the monkey, man.
Anyway, the whole thing with the animals, that's another whole can of worms. Because, yeah. You know what I was thinking as well? I think I made this point ages ago that when you look at Michael Jackson and what he's accused of and all of these other things, he really is like how influencers behave today. He kept animals for show. He did charity for show. He used his kids for show. And it turns out behind the scenes, he was living way beyond his means. And he was surrounded himself with yes people. And if anyone said no to him, they were fired. I can't remember.
Right on, man. Chris, what's up, brother, y'all? Big ups. Hey, y'all, coming to the stage.
I'm a big fan of yours, by the way.
Right on, Mike. Big fan here, too, man. I know all the songs.
Me too, Cedric.
I still got...
I love you.
Yeah. So that's Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was his go-to at this time with the image rehabilitation. What was that? Oh, yeah, we got more coming up. We have got more coming up. I don't want to spend too long on that, but I think you get the general idea. So let's go to the Michael Jackson timeline. Again, there are these websites written by fans. They are so useful. Look, Michael Jackson timeline. I think this is an official website. June 26th, 2009. So let me tell you what was going on. 1993, Jackson is accused. 1992 is when he said he had vitiligo. I'm not even going to get into that. But there's another video by his sister, Latoya, saying that, and this is like back in the day when she was speaking up against him. She was, because she's done a lot of work with Donald Trump. She was on The Apprentice, I think. She was saying that he told her to use the creams. He wanted her to experiment with the bleaching creams so that he could see if it was all right for him to use it. He misused it so badly that he lost all his pigmentation, which has been categorized as vitiligo, but it was a self-inflicted vitiligo. But he went on Oprah Winfrey and said he had it, and it was a skin disorder that destroys melanin and in severe cases can leave a victim devoid of skin color. He also revealed that his father emotionally abused him as a child. That was another thing I was going to say. Why he reminds me of an influencer is because he started playing the victim. Not to say that he didn't have an abusive childhood. I think the saddest thing about it is that his dad always said that the reason why he abused him or disciplined him like that was to make sure he didn't end up on drugs, but yet he still ended up on drugs, and his dad still hasn't taken it back or said, you know, maybe that wasn't the best idea. So yeah, 1993, he's accused in civil court of molesting an 11-year-old boy. Police descend on Neverland and subject Jackson to a full body search. It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life, he says in a televised statement in December. We also know that he had this other lawsuit going on in 1993, but that's not mentioned here, interestingly. 1994, he settles the molestation case out of court. The boy is paid more than $15 million to be held in trust until he's an adult. That's a crazy amount of money. The parents of the boy receive $1.5 million each. Then he does the marriage to Lisa Marie, blah, 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 blah. In 1995, Sony releases History, Past, Present, and Future Book 1. Janet Jackson performs a duet with her older brother on screen. That was a good song. Then we get to 1996. And the reason why I'm showing this is because this is where he had a relationship with the UK. And it's interesting because there were people in the UK that weren't really buying his act, shall I say. Let me show you what I'm talking about. But this was a big deal.
And we can expect scenes like this in London this weekend. Michael Jackson will be flying in to do the opening performance at the 1996 Brit Awards. It'll be his first performance since he was released from hospital.
He was released from hospital, rehab, basically. That was when we first know of him having an addiction problem, because he said it himself. He said it himself on the video he released, where he said he'd been subjected to an inhumane search by the police.
Will be performing his #1 song, Earth Song, as he did on German TV in November last year. This time, though, the organisers of the Brit Awards say that the staging and choreography will be unique to this one-off event.
Any got a message for the fans, Michael?
So this is outside his hotel. I know where this hotel is. It's in Knightsbridge. I think it's the Lanesborough.
Been a fan for now 15 years. Very dedicated. Wherever he goes, I go, no matter where it is.
Came here at 6:30 this morning in the freezing cold, and I've been waiting all.
I love how she's got a troll. She was ahead of the times.
This time So hopefully I'll get to see him.
It's the only chance to get a glimpse of him. I mean, can't pass it up.
I think it's the magic and the myth that surrounds Michael. I think that's what attracts me to him more than anything else.
Well, he only comes once every so often. He hasn't been for about 3.5 years, so it's worth to see him get a few pictures.
The magic and the myth, yeah. This is the magic and the myth. I don't know why I was going to show this. Oh, this is him again. It's just
lässt sich sogar für Familienalben ablichten. Nur einer kann nicht so recht glauben, dass hinter der Maske auch der echte Jacko steckt. Dieser Straßengaukler ist überzeugt, er sei einem Double begegnet. Erst auf den zweiten Blick erkennt er, wen er vor sich hat. Vielleicht hat Michael dadurch selbst an seiner Echtheit Zweifel bekommen. Doch ein Besuch bei Madame Tussauds hat ihn wieder überzeugt.
Oh, they made a statue of him at Madame Tussauds. But there was something where they said about the guy was arrested. Wait. I've messed it up.
Jackson is in London to perform Earth Song at the Brit Awards on Monday night. It will be his first public show since his dramatic onstage collapse while rehearsing for a concert with mime artist Marcel Marceau in New York. Jackson's doctor said at the time he believed the star was just 15 minutes from death. It's one of the reasons the fans had turned out today. But after a brief walkabout, their masked hero was whisked off for some sightseeing. Judging by his reception, the hotel...
Right. I can't remember if it said it on here. Oh, yeah, here.
Face legal action. The parents of a 12-year-old girl who danced with Michael also say that they will sue because of the incident, but it's unclear exactly who they will sue.
Sie lieben und sie hassen sich. Pulp-Sänger Jarvis Cocker sprengte beim...
Yeah, so
Die Polizei nahm ihn vorübergehend fest. Seine Begründung später: Ich konnte nicht mehr mit ansehen, wie sich Michael Jackson als Jesus
A lot of this is European, but basically what they're saying is that Jarvis Cocker was arrested, and I'm like, no way, because when you see what he actually did, let me show you. This was the performance.
Tja, da hatte Michael wohl ein bisschen Stress. Die Bilder übrigens.
The Brit Awards. It was alleged that children on stage with the American singer were injured in the scuffle. Mr. Cocker is due to report to Kensington Police this afternoon.
And we don't do the things you do, but we live around here.
Jarvis Cocker has had no...
He literally was arrested for this. Let me show you it. That's it. That is literally it. Can you see it? Let me zoom in. Can you see it? I had forgotten how minimal this incident was. He's on stage, like, he's been accused of child molestation. He's out of rehab, yeah? And he's come on stage at the Brits. And he's performing this song like he's Jesus. And Jarvis Cocker literally just like, who was in a Britpop group, and he literally just walks across the stage and does stupid gestures with his hands. Like, it's just nothing. And then he had to go and do like a whole apology on like British TV. And yeah, like it was made out like it was so bad what he'd done. It was really crazy. And when you watch it now and you think, All he did was got on the stage. Wait, let me show that bit. He got on the stage and kind of made a sarcastic gesture protest about a pedophile who was acting like he was God on stage. And that's what happened to him. It's really insane when you think about it.
For disrupting Michael Jackson's performance at Harvest, and police decided the Pulp lead singer won't face prosecution for disrupting Michael Jackson's performance at the Brit Awards. But if it was justice for Jarvis, it wasn't justice, according to fans of Michael Jackson. Phil Bales has this report.
He was up with the gods where he felt he belonged. Wacko Jacko, 40 feet up in the clouds, oblivious of the devilry at work on his act below. There, the more earthly and earthy figure of Jarvis Cocker was expressing something, hopefully just his opinion, on Michael Jackson's Earth Song. Fans and critics agreed Jackson's portrayal of himself as the saviour of the poor was over the top. But was Cocker's stage invasion justified, and did he assault 3 children? Rival fans continued the dispute here.
Yeah. So it turns out like they made it into this huge thing where they said they claimed that kids had been injured on the stage. It's like how the propaganda machine works, because that was all protecting Michael Jackson and his image. And when you look at it, like, I even thought he pulled his trousers down. He didn't even do that. He was literally just waving his hands behind his bum. It's just crazy work what went on there. But when you look back now, you can see it so differently. I'm just saying, these people that are like, oh, well, Jeffrey Epstein met him, so what? Do you know what I mean? When you put all this together. Oh, now I found my thing about the announcement of him playing the Apollo. I forgot about that earlier. Right, what are we moving to now? Next in my presentation. So yeah, just to go back a second. That was my news article about him playing at the Apollo. So that was in 2002. I'm jumping ahead again in case you've just joined. Jacko plays the Apollo. There's another chapter in the Michael Jackson saga. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll run to the bathroom. Last night, Michael returned to Harlem's legendary Apollo Theatre for his first performance there since 1989. 1989 or 1969. The occasion was a Democratic National Committee voter drive fundraiser. Funnily, I would have taken Michael, who's from Orange County, California, as a Republican, but never mind that. That's what I was going to say. I don't think anyone cares about anyone's politics. They care about protecting each other's image, saying they're humanitarian, and making money for the party. Because apparently they made something like $10 million that night. Oh, they said it was well danced and mechanically portrayed. I mean, I don't know. When he was younger, like Thriller and stuff like that, his moves are beyond. But when you see these 2000 performances, there's a lot of standing in the wind machine. He does a lot of the same body moves, but it just isn't very, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm being horrible to him, but you know what I'm just trying to say is it wasn't sustainable for him to carry on touring. Oh, And again, remember that you can't actually see the footage. You can't see the footage of the performance. So it says here, and this is in Fox News, which I believe, funnily enough, is a right-wing paper. So they're saying about this 2002 performance that's the same day as the photos that were in the Epstein Files. The Heal the World is a corny, hackneyed effort that ends embarrassingly. Michael takes the hand of a 4-year-old boy and leads him off the stage. You just want to say, oh, come on, it's beyond belief. But everything in the Heal the World performance is like that. Michael has his singers and dancers dress up in costumes of other cultures. Right? This was happening in plain sight. And if anyone spoke up and said anything, they were arrested pretty much. A couple of really insulting American Indians, an Arab, a Hasidic Jew, etc. The Arab and the Jew actually hug each other. After everything that's happened in the news lately, how can anyone expect this to be the solution to the problems in the Middle East? I mean, it reminds me of, what's her name? Kendall Jenner and the Pepsi advert. We get the same thing over and over. The DNC says it raised, which is why, I think this is important. People are like, well, this is distracting from what the Epstein Files is really about. Is it though? Is it though? This is really what it is about. This is what it is about. The DNC said it raised 2.7 million. Okay, I don't know where I got 10 million from. That was how much he made from the 30-year concert sales in 2 nights, allegedly. But at least 500,000 had to have gone to expenses. That's another thing. You see, there's a lot of reliance on the special effects, the costumes, the other dancers, the other singers, the pyrotechnics, the lighting. Jackson got his airfare underwritten by United Airlines. That's why I wanted to read this bit out. Was everyone thinking, oh, he's super rich, he pays for everything? No, he doesn't. It's all paid for by other people. Jackson got his airfare underwritten by United Airlines, but it said that he had more than a dozen suites. A dozen suites at the Palace Hotel, formerly the Helmsley Palace. That bill went to the DNC. Among Jackson's entourage were his kids, a nanny, and a personal assistant. After the show, Jackson took pictures with Bill Clinton and with, wait for it, hip-hop impresario Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons has also had to leave the United States. He's out in Bali because he's wanted over here for assaulting women. And I remember years ago, like I'm talking about 2 or 3 years ago, a video came up by someone in Bali, a guy. And I wish I could find it again, but I cannot for the life of me. He said he's up to this same stuff in Bali right now, probably still as we speak. He didn't meet any of the other performers and skipped out right after the show. Why not? You would too if you had 15 suites at the palace. That's why he probably looks pissed off in that photo, because he doesn't look like he's present at all. One thing's for sure, he did not run out of ice or towels on this trip. Michael was brought into this DNC fundraiser by commercial real estate broker James Melskin. These names are important as well, because they may well be part of this network. I wrote about Melskin in this column last week. He's this year's Shumli Botich in the Jackson camp. According to sources, Melskin thinks he can dig Jackson out of his financial hole by lining up a consortium of investors. The consortium would pay off Michael's loans and help him regain his song catalogue, currently being used for collateral. This idea may be assisted in a fair way by a Wall Street boutique investment advice firm. That doesn't sound like Jeffrey Epstein to me. We know he was doing a lot of international trade and backdoor deals and actually ripping people off. This idea may be assisted in a fair way by a Wall Street boutique investment advice firm. Will it work? If Melskin can pull this off, then he'll be a hero. Time will tell. Meantime, a smattering of celebs did show up for the Apollo show, all impressed with the theatre's glittering refurbishment. The Apollo really is a New York treasure, and it was great to see it filled with life. Among the notable actors, Joe Pantoliano, singer Ruben Blades, Johnny Cochran, Cicely Tyson, Don Cornelius, and Diana Ross, who made a surprise appearance at the end of the Jackson show. Blah, 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 blah. Anyone else there? The surreal night ended at around 1 a.m. at Elaine's, where the great character actor Dabney Coleman was holding court. A nice young woman who'd had too much to drink approached his table and pointed. Were you in You've Got Mail? She asked the Golden Globe winner, who starred in his own series. That doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, what are we moving on to? We're going to move on to, yeah, I've read you the charities lawsuit. So what else did he have going on? There was also a German promoter suing him. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think I've got the article up. Is it in the timeline? Probably not. Oh, yes, it is. It actually is in the timeline. Okay, let's switch to this page. Share this page instead. Okay, so this is another timeline. Oh, how I found this? Because it's got a transcript of his conversation with Chris Tucker, and then it talks about doing something in South Africa with Nelson Mandela. So what you have to remember is, just like you see entertainers going over to Saudi Arabia right now, this stuff was going on for South Africa back in 2002. I showed you the Billboard appearance in doubt. Swollen leg. Oh yeah, he started walking around with crutches around in year 2002, which we are going to get onto. But I'm trying to find where it says about this other law. Oh, there it is. Right. So in 2002, he's back in court. The King of Pop kissed a little girl on the head and autographed her the Wiz album this morning as he returned to court to defend himself in the Marcel Azram Millennium Concerts lawsuit. So this was where he was sued for $10 million, or it might have been 20 million, because he was meant to perform 2 concerts on Millennium New Year's Eve, which obviously was on 1999, going into 2000. And he was a no-show. He flaked. And this promoter, who'd worked with him a long time, by the way, in Romania, he'd organised like appearances at Romanian orphanages and all of that kind of thing that made people believe that he cared about children. That was all part of his image. In reality, he didn't show up to his shows, and all of the ticket holders lost their money. I mean, I don't know if the promoter paid them back, but Michael Jackson certainly didn't pay back what he'd been given as an advance. So he was in civil court in this white outfit. You can see it. It's not the best pick, but I just think it's really relevant because they said there wasn't that much media outside the courthouse. Oh, and also, this is around the same time that he dangled his child outside the hotel room in Berlin. And it says Reuters reported that as the media outside the courthouse shouted questions about the Berlin baby incident, Michael autographed the album and looked up with an expression of apparent annoyance over the questioning. It's my child, he said. I love my children. Well, the thing is, like, it's a bit like with the animals thing, saying you love animals. You love animals, but yet they were mistreated on your property. You know, because as a parent, I could not imagine in a million years dangling my child over a balcony like that. It just goes beyond all sense of logic. Anyone that tries to excuse that or explain it, you ain't thinking straight. You are not thinking straight. If that was your partner and they did that to your child, you'd lose it. You would literally lose if you were a good parent. Or what I should say is, it's just a natural reaction to want to protect your kid. Like, it's a human instinct. So, yeah, being defensive about it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so that was going on. Meanwhile, another person who's appeared in the Epstein Files, let's get to it. I hope this is all making sense. It's a lot for me to remember at one time. And I don't want to miss anything out. But this was another image that was released in the Epstein Files. Yeah. So I don't remember exactly who everyone is, but that is a British. Was he British? No. I think he's American. He's an illusionist. Okay, another person that was pictured with Ghislaine Maxwell was an illusionist called David Copperfield. But this guy's name was David Blaine. He was very big in the UK. I went to see him when he did a stunt over Tower Bridge. And there was a lot of people suggesting how he was faking it, but we'll never know. We'll never know how he pulled that off. I can't remember who this is, but this is Barack, the former president of Israel and the defense minister of Israel, who Virginia Giuffre described in her book as assaulting her. We've got Woody Allen over here. Epstein acting like the ringleader or the circus ringleader, circus leader, the ringmaster. I don't know who this woman is, but they look like they're at a round table meeting. This guy, when what happened with Virginia Giuffre happened, Virginia Roberts, she was merely a teenager. He was in his 50s or 60s, I think. I just don't believe that in these intimate groups of people, these vibes are not picked up on. And also, I think it's really interesting that he had this very obviously close relationship with Woody Allen, because I have talked a little bit about Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson's relationship, but we've not got onto Brett yet. Anyway, why am I showing this? Because in 2002, when Michael Jackson's going through all this stuff, he comes to the UK. I don't know why he thought after what happened with the Brit Awards, I guess because the police, I don't want to say, well, yeah, they acted on his behalf by arresting someone for merely expressing their disgust at how he presented himself. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. He comes back to the UK, and guess who he's with? None other than David Blaine. Do you think this is a coincidence? Do you think this is a coincidence? Let me know. Let's play the video.
Michael, why did you watch Epstein Files? Gee, I don't know. I haven't been in yet. Michael, why did you watch Epstein Files? What are you hoping to see here?
So this guy is someone called Uri Geller, who, guess what, is another illusionist. I don't know what's happened to him lately, but for some reason he was Michael Jackson's new best buddy and chaperone, and they end up going to the Oxford Union, which I think is where, interestingly, talking about propaganda, Charlie Kirk did a lecture, not a lecture, whatever they call it. I think it's like, it is where you go to do political campaigning. I don't want to show that one. There is a video of him at the Oxford Union. I can't find it. It's here somewhere. And he's on crutches. Michael Jackson's speech. I don't want to see the speech. I want to see... Is it that one?
We've been unmasking the new Michael Jackson and revealing the influence of his new friends.
If I had any feeling that those stories could be true, I would not associate myself with Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson was back in town and doing everything to live up to his wacko image. He's not been here for a long time, and this was no ordinary visit. On Tuesday, Jackson told the packed student audience of the Oxford Union about his new children's charity, Heal the Kids. With him were two new friends, a rabbi who offers guidance on sex, and the British-based spoon-bending psychic Uri Geller. Skeptics dismissed the whole event as a typical publicity stunt. After all, there were books to be sold, a wedding to attend, and of course, a career to revive. Others detected a new Michael Jackson, prepared to bare his soul about his own troubled childhood and to somehow reshape his image.
Sort of music side organisation didn't know what was happening, and so we had a lot of fruitless phone calls and simply couldn't find out what was happening. And the hopes that we'd had for, you know, Michael Jackson becoming a champion of youth-led development never materialised at all, which was a disappointment to us.
The Charity Commission found that in its last 5 years, Heal the World in the UK contributed less than £5,000 to good causes. In the same period, almost £90,000 was spent on admin. The British trustees decided, quote, that it was not worth continuing the organisation in any form.
This was before, well, while they were filming the Martin Bashir program, I'm going to say, because I think that came out at the beginning of 2003. But he's wearing that same cardigan in that program, and because I remember this is all around the time of the, like I said, the baby dangling in Berlin, which is another thing as well that I was going to say about the Epstein picture. Like, I'm pretty sure he had his kids then when that picture was taken. He was okay going around to Epstein's. You know, just when I was saying about people said, oh, he was meeting Epstein to talk about business or finances, not about maybe going collaborating with universities like Epstein did. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, no one had Michael Jackson down as an academic at this time. And a lot of people probably didn't even really notice this stuff going on, because why would you? You'd just be thinking, oh God, whatever next. But when you put it all together and you realize what's been going on all this time, that's when it hits. That's when it's like, oh, yeah, okay. Now I'm aware of this stuff and how it works and how I'm being pretty much brainwashed to believe that Michael Jackson was an innocent party. Yeah, I was just looking at the timeline. Again, in 2002, the only thing they say is that Jackson lifts his newborn son, Prince Michael, over a hotel room terrace so fans can glimpse. I was just letting that sink in, and is roundly criticised for endangering his child. The identity of the child's mother is never revealed. Jackson says the child is the result of artificial insemination from a surrogate mother and his own sperm cells. That's another thing, okay, that these megalomaniac influencers do. They buy children, they traffic children for themselves. I can think of at least 2 off the top of my head. Sam Altman and Naomi Campbell. What was I going to say? In Virginia Roberts' book, she said that Maxwell and Epstein had actually questioned her about whether she could carry their child. And obviously give up all rights to the baby. Another thing they indulge in is anti-aging treatments. Michael Jackson's, I found another clip of him where he said he never wanted to die. He wanted to stay young forever. He was Peter Pan. One of the first big instances of him being known as Wacko Jacko was because, again, he went to a burns unit because he had an accident with his hair while filming a Pepsi commercial. And so I think as part of the settlement, Pepsi had to pay money to a charity, which I think is why he was at this hospital. Because I honestly, knowing him now, I know he didn't do that off his own back. So he goes to this unit and he sees this oxygen tank and he thinks it's really funny to get in the oxygen tank and take a picture in there. And then he finds out that apparently if you spend time in the oxygen tank, it helps to slow down the aging process, but his doctor advises him not to. You know who else was into that as well? And I'm going to get onto him. Let me do a quick sneak peek. Who's into this anti-aging stuff and who Michael Jackson went and stayed at his house as a guest? Let me show you. Let me show you who I'm talking about. None other, and guess who else stayed there? Prince Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew. I've lost my oh, there it is. No, I've got so many tabs. I know it's here somewhere. I've done that one. I can close 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 that one. I'll keep that one for now. Oh, we're going to get on to Brett Ratner. I can close that one. Oh, that was President's meeting Michael Jackson. Just in case you were wondering, let me show you that quickly. A lot of these things are on flipping Facebook. Oh no, this was on Reddit. Yeah, someone posted Michael Jackson meeting various different presidents. So obviously there was Reagan, whoever that is. We know who that is. I know who that is very well. I mean, look at his skin, how white it's getting. And obviously Obama. So yeah, he was down with anyone. who was down with him. I've done the Oxford Union speech. Right. I know I've got this thing about the stem cell and the anti-aging treatment somewhere. Maybe it's... Ah. There we go. That's it, right? Oh, yeah. It is him in the Bahamas with Peter Nygaard. Yeah. Anyone surprised? Another SO, another pedophile. But he deserves a whole deep dive in himself. Let me see if I can get up the thing about Andrew. There you go. That's his... I don't know if that's him. It doesn't really look like him, but that's definitely Fergie, and that's his kids hanging out with Peter Nygaard. Yep. So, as we know, she was in very close contact with Epstein. She was like, oh, I'm sorry I said something rude about you in the press. I'll take it back if you send me some more money. That's exactly what people do to Michael Jackson, by the way. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny. Right, where are we going next? Brett Ratner. He worked with, or first of all, he worked with Michael Jackson. He didn't just work with Michael Jackson. He stayed at Michael Jackson's house, as he's about to say. But he worked with Chris Tucker on... It's not Fast and Furious. I'm forgetting the name. They did a whole series of films. You know what I'm on about. Anyway, let's watch this.
Yeah. Wow. That's Redman for you. And now Michael Jackson, I know you were a friend of Michael Jackson's.
Yeah.
Did you meet him from a music video?
No. I met him, God, when I did the first Rush Hour, and that's a long, crazy story. But people, don't really know Michael as well as I did, really. And
Most people don't.
Well, yeah, but they think they know him, but he was probably one of the funniest human beings ever. And he would...
That was it. Rush Hour. Yeah, so he's saying he's one of the funniest human beings ever. That's another thing they wanted us all to believe. How he's so funny. He's just a joker. He's just a prankster. You guys don't get his humor.
For real. No, really. And all he wanted to do was practical jokes on people. And I'll never forget, I would sleep in the Elizabeth Taylor suite when she wasn't there at Neverland.
Okay.
And, you always felt like you were being watched constantly. Like there was hidden cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was sleeping one night, and his voice, because there's an intercom system, and he goes, Brett? I go, yes. I was like sleeping. I woke up. He goes, are you sleeping? I go, yes. He goes, wake up. I'm sending Kato to come get you. And I'm like, he had a limo driver who was a short Japanese guy named Kato that he would make wear a tuxedo and a hat. And he had the longest stretch limousine you've ever seen in my life. So Kato comes, he goes, you can stay in your jammies. So I stayed in my pajamas. I go, where are we going? We're going to 7-Eleven. What are we doing? He goes, you'll see. Here, put this on. I go, what is that? It was a mask. I said, I don't need a mask, Michael. He puts on I go, I'm not Michael Jackson. Maybe you need a mask. He puts on a Hulk mask and says, go into the bathroom, meet me in the bathroom. I go, this is getting strange, okay? 4 in the morning, we're in Santa Barbara in a 7-Eleven. You want me to meet you? Buy some balloons. He comes in the bathroom, we start filling up water balloons, and he literally sends me out to the car. We filled up about 100 balloons. We get back in the car. I'm like, where are we going? He goes, you'll see. We're driving down empty road. I said, what are we looking for? He goes, you'll see. No one is in sight. It's 4 a.m. in Santa Barbara off the freeway. All of a sudden, there's like, I guess he must have been like a homeless guy just walking on the side of the expressway. And the guy is just literally walking like this. And Michael Jackson says, Kato, hit the brakes! and he slipped.
I mean, there's just so much wrong with this whole story. But this guy wants us to believe he's a humanitarian that loves all races. Your driver's called Kato. Let's start with that. Because I don't believe that's his real name. Kato was a character in a movie. Was it James Bond or I don't know? But anyway.
And the brakes, and I literally look out the window, and this guy's like this. Like he thinks that he's going to be attacked. And all of a sudden, Michael Jackson pops out of the sunroof with the Hulk mask on. Imagine how scared this guy was at 4 a.m. And he goes like this, and the guy's like this. He doesn't know which way to go, and he can't see. It's only a water balloon, and he whips the water balloon at him, and the guy just starts running in the other direction. Goes, Kato, throw it in reverse! And literally, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, and we catch up to the guy, and the guy just stops, and he just hits him with the water balloon, and he goes, Kato, go! And we run off, and I'm like, do you think the police are not going to know Michael Jackson with a Hulk mask and a stretch limousine is throwing? And we laughed the whole night. I couldn't even go to sleep. It was like the craziest thing.
That's the craziest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah. So, yeah, making fun of homeless people at 4 a.m. with someone who's staying at his house in their pajamas. I mean... Let me just remind you of that. Yeah, that's him right there. There's other videos as well of him. He made like an interview with him in black and white. Oh, on the way to make that interview, I just remembered. Let me see if I can find it before I go. By the way, guys, I can't. Look, I've just started using a new device tonight, and I know there's always something going wrong for me. But I've really tried with this presentation because I know no one else is putting these people together like this. Thank you so much for all the comments and the super chat. I can't display it on my video, but honestly, oh, Pink Panther was the driver. Yeah, it's giving racist to me. I'm not being funny. Racist, homeless abuse, child abuse. The three things go together with these kind of people. Right, one more thing before I go, I really want to share with you because it kind of is the cherry. It's the icing on the cake. And I thought I had it, but let me just put it into YouTube right now. Happy Christmas, guys, honestly. Okay, what am I doing? Brett Ratner. I feel like they were sort of tasked as part of his, hey, we'll make you really cool with the kids again. There's another video actually I saw earlier where Michael Jackson visits Brett Ratner on the set of his movie called Red Dragon or something. And yeah, he clearly benefited a lot from his relationship with him. There it is. Michael Jackson. Oh, it's on Reddit. I don't want it on Reddit. I want it on YouTube. Oh my God. Why can't I find it? I hate how Reddit videos. I mean, sorry. I hate how Reddit posts go to the top of the searches. Right, that is YouTube. I should have played this first. This is what I should have started with. This is what I should have started with.
Look at this damn trap.
Usually I don't do this. But,
This is me on vacation with my good friend Brett Ratner. That's a good shot. Look at that.
Now, I'm not trying to.
We were singing to the music,
Oh my
playing,
God.
acting wild, being silly.
Oh
It's fun.
my God, he just said we're in Miami. I'm just saying.
And Brett's like a kid, like me. We like to have fun.
You could not make this up, could you? Do you know what else I meant to say as well? Like, another thing that we had the wool pulled over our eyes about. Like, don't get me wrong, like Michael Jackson, he has got the moves, yeah. But another thing he was getting sued for was plagiarism. Yeah. He went through a whole court case where he was trying to prove that he didn't rip off someone's song. I'm just saying. And in this interview with Brett Ratner that comes after this bit of video, he's like, oh, I keep up on everything. Don't worry. I know what all the trends are. Like, but then at the same time, he's trying to say that he was an innovator and he was an originator. And what he doesn't say is, like, a lot of his success is down to the people he collaborated with and their talent. The people that wrote songs with him, the producers that wrote songs with him, like Quincy Jones, the backup singers, the choreographers he had, the directors he had of his videos. Iconic, yeah. But I'm not saying Michael Jackson was overrated, but I'm like, the thing is, without those people, without paying those people, because he could no longer afford to, or he didn't have a record deal to, he couldn't really cut it anymore. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. And so facing these charges as he was, you know, it was a lot easier for them to reflect on the past and keep reminding people of how successful he was, keep the hysteria going. And that was how they was winging it for the final years of his life. Anyway, I want to read some of the comments. I'm just leaving that picture up as a reminder. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. So many comments. Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. Yeah, I do not think. And the other thing about it, yeah, let's go back to that picture. Let's go back to that picture. I'll finish with what I started with. There we go. People are saying, oh, well, this must be the time he went round to his Miami house, which I've already said I don't believe this is in Miami. I do not believe this is in Miami. If anyone wants to help me out with finding the location of this room, then please let me know in the comments. Like, it definitely could be, but I just don't see any other floorboards like that in the Miami, because that's like a parquet flooring. And like I said, the plug thing, we call it a plug. I don't know what you call it. A PowerPoint. He looks like he's come round to chill. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's what he wears when he chills, but I've never really seen Michael Jackson dress in casual clothes. Like, he doesn't really do tracksuits, unlike this guy. But yeah, I do not believe that that was the time where they asked him for a massage. So yeah, I definitely think there was definitely more than one occasion he was in this guy's house. That's what I think. I'm just using my common sense and my critical thinking, because apparently Michael Jackson doesn't like that. For your Reddit coming up at the top of the search. I read it in an article. No, I know exactly what it is. It's because of OpenAI. OpenAI bought Reddit, and that's what they use to do their to do the LLC, the LLM, language learning models. Yeah. And that's why it started going to the top of the Google searches in 2023, I think it was. Everything has a reason in this very corrupt, pedophile-ruled world. You'll be able to search their outfits. That would be amazing. I did try searching the outfits. I tried searching for Michael Jackson's outfit. I noticed he wears the red shirt a lot, but what is it called, this thing? What, like a bloom? No, I'm just trying to think what you call it. Is it a corsage? Is something. I've not really seen him wearing that in any other pictures, but it reminds me of what you wear at a wedding. But the only wedding that I've seen today that he attended, which is kind of relevant, especially for the UK thing, is this guy called David Guest. Because David Guest, who was a PR, by the way, I found that interesting. David Guest was a PR. He'd apparently known the Jacksons since they were kids, and he put on the 30 years as a solo performer concert in something Gardens, the famous venue in New York. That was the one where, if you look at the footage, you can see Michael Jackson clearly not sober, not with it at all. They blamed it on he hadn't done any rehearsals, which is another excuse which comes up all the time. He hasn't done rehearsals. And I mean, it's probably more than likely he hadn't done rehearsals, because they're so used to performing in unison and in sync that it's probably very easy for him to get away with it. But the point is, you know, there was people paid $10,000 for tickets to that thing. That was the top level for the VIP. People ain't going to be forking out that kind of money for a disaster. You know, and I think that if that tour had have gone ahead, the AEG one, it would have been a disaster. There's no way he would have made it through that tour. No way in hell. Never Believe a Lie is back. Hello. Sorry, I haven't been ignoring you. The best story ever is hearing Bob Mortimer's autobiography about trying to rescue Jarvis. Après his flashing during Jacko's Brit performance. Oh, let me have a look. Let me see if that's still there. That would be really funny. Bob Mortimer, Jarvis Cocker, Michael Jackson. What a combo. I mean, I just cannot get over what a spectacle. I remember Jarvis Cocker had to go on This Morning. It was so serious. And the way they made it seem was like he'd literally pulled his pants down and that they just hadn't shown it to us. But now when you see the footage, it's like he didn't do that. He literally just waggled his fingers. Like, it's really insane. How they humiliated him. Bob Mortimer rescues Jarvis. Gave legal advice on the bit. Oh, he's obviously talked about this a lot. TFI Friday. I remember TFI Friday. Let's do what I'm looking at right now. This is live researching, guys. Well, this one's only 141, so let's try this one.
News at Brits. But we knew the Jackson bit. I just couldn't be asked to write it.
And you guys? That answer puts you in an ethical quandary, isn't it?
Which one, Richard?
No Jackson.
Are you suggesting that we don't get a point?
I'm just saying it's very ethically difficult for Jimmy at the moment. That's all I'm saying. What are you going to do, Jimmy?
Do the right thing, Jimmy. By them,
Jimmy.
and don't be a misogynist by taking away points because of my menopause.
Yeah.
Well,
Joe has played her Joker and will be getting a point. I remember when this happened because Bob was there and you used to be. You were a barrister, weren't you?
I was a solicitor at
A
the
solicitor.
time, yeah.
And didn't you go down to, because they arrested, or certainly the police took Jarvis away?
No.
Can I just say as well, one person who's been let off very lightly is Jonathan Ross, because I'm pretty sure his wife was 15 when he got married.
Michael Jackson's goons arrested him, not the police, and they put him in a porta cabin. I presumed it would be something, like substances, weaponry, something like that. And I cleared them out, demanded to go in there, and I said, Jarvis, what have you done? And he said, I showed my bottom to
So you all got points on that.
Okay, so he did say he showed it, but I mean, you couldn't really see it. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to make it sound worse than what it actually was. Madison Square Garden, that's it. I love my audience. They just know what I'm talking about, even though I don't know what I'm talking about. It's really weird when you're not American. Obviously, you don't know these places. Like, you hear about them all the time and you know that they're like super famous. But I have been to the Best Buy theater in New York. Guess who I saw there? Let me put my camera back on. You're not going to believe I saw A$AP Rocky at the Best Buy theater. Probably the less said about that, the better. Right. I think that's all I'm just going to look through some more comments very, very quickly. Again, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate. Merry Christmas. I'm definitely, by the way, Concerned Citizen, I'm 100% doing a Peter Nygaard special now that I've got this new set up. So tomorrow I'm going to do the Virginia Giuffre, Roberts Giuffre book reading again. I'm going to do the Peter Nygaard reaction video that I've been wanting to do for like maybe a year. There's another video that I came across really recently. It's an old video, like it's an old British documentary, but I thought this would make a great reaction video. So I'm going to do that. That's about Christine Keeler, you know, the girl that was very relevant to everything else we're talking about. She was sleeping with a Russian, was he a member of the government and a British Tory member of the government at the same time? And yeah, I just had forgotten about that story, and I just saw something about it the other day, and I was like, oh my God, this crisis PR stuff has been going on for so long under our noses, without us knowing what the real deal was. So yeah, there's that. I was thinking of doing a poll to like see if anyone's interested in, or what the most interest is in some of the things I want to talk about. So there's also the Steve Sarowitz, Claire Iab Zoom call, which I've not really done. Because I've looked a lot into Steve Sarowitz. That's going back to the Blake Lively Baldoni case. And there's also my most popular video on my channel was about Nicola Bulley, a woman who went missing, which is coming up for 3 years ago now. And there was something that happened a month or so ago where, because she went missing, she was found in a river. A lot of people find it very suspicious with how she got in that river. It wasn't a fast flowing river. It wasn't a deep river. There hadn't been a lot of rain. It wasn't a steep bank. So a guy that was involved in the search, he wasn't in the police. My opinion is they never did a proper search of the river. And then so this guy came along called Peter something. I've got his name. He came out with a story that he had actually seen her body lying on the bottom of the river with a sonar detector thing. And he made this big announcement, and it was a very poorly timed announcement because it was literally at Christmas. Was it last year or the year before? I'm not sure. I'll have to check. So I think it was the year before last, because I made my video October 24. So yeah, he must have made it at the Christmas of 23. Which, bear in mind, if you know her family is still very much grieving, I thought it was pretty poorly timed, but I get why he did it, because they were having a police investigation, or an inquiry, should I say, and he wasn't invited to the inquest, and he felt like his reputation had been kind of harmed. So he has now shown the whole sonar video, and I've seen a little bit of talk about it, but I still think it might be worth me doing a reaction to that for anyone that's interested, who is still interested in that Nicola Bulley case, because it definitely looks 100% like that was a police cover-up. Whatever happened to her, that was a police cover-up. So yeah, that's another thing that I'm thinking of covering. But I know some people in the US are interested in it as much as English people. Let me just see if there's any other comments for me to reply to. Stem cells. You know, Justin Baldoni did stem cell research. You have something to say about the stem cells? Peter Nygaard paid Asian women in China or Thailand to become pregnant and then abortion to get stem cells. Oh my God. Yeah, we're going to get into him for sure, because that's the thing. He shares so many characteristics with these other people, with these other men, with these other abusers. You know, it cannot be a coincidence. They all want to live forever. They all want to reproduce because they feel like their genes are superior to others. And that's why they exploit people from other races. Michael Jackson wanted to make himself white. I don't care what he tries to say to anyone. That is literally what he was doing. And yeah, they are just all such liars. Like, I'm just sick of it, because the thing is, people have said, well, how does this relate to the Epstein Files, you know? Because it's not just the actual pedophiles that are part of this. It's people like Chris Tucker who's sitting there going, oh, I never went to the island. Are you telling me they didn't know what was going on? They were more than happy to hang out with these people and make money from them and with them and turn a blind eye to what was going on. If anything, they're helping them promote themselves, knowing full well what's going on. That was their careers. That's why we should give a shit about it. Excuse my language. I don't like to swear. I'm gonna log off for now. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. I need to get the likes up on these videos. I was just going to turn off that screen, but what am I doing? I'm so used to having a mouse, you wouldn't believe it. When I say a mouse, I mean I mean a cursor mouse. Anyway, thank you. See you next time. Peace and Merry Christmas.